Hey there guys, it's Luis Miranda for LC Design. Today we're going to look at this Epcot poster that I recreated. So if you guys have known me for any period of time, you guys probably know that I'm a big theme park nerd. I've been checking out the Imagineer story on Disney Plus, and that thing has made me all sorts of nostalgic for theme parks, and Epcot is probably one of my absolute favorite parks. So the reason I recreated this poster is because earlier this year I went to D23. There was these two posters. There was the original classic poster, and then they have the new one, which was to commemorate the sort of rebrand that they're doing that started in October. When I bought it, I was like, oh, of course I'm gonna get the purple one because the purple one has purple in it. I love purple, right? But then after I had bought the poster, I realized that there was a difference, and that's that they swapped out the logos. And I was a little salty about that because I really like the old Epcot logo, especially how it has the classic Walt Disney World on top and then Epcot Center. To get back into that store, you have to wait through this like ridiculous line, and I didn't want to do that. And like, it was the last day. They weren't even letting people in the line because it was so long that by the time you get into the store, the convention was going to be over. But then I had an idea. I said, what if I recreate the poster, bring in the original logo and the original phrase, but keep the color? So I don't think I'm the only one that feels this way about this poster. I think that there's probably a few other people that like the colors, but they don't like the new logo. All right, so let's go ahead and go into the tutorial. But before we do that, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed lately. Ever since my X-Particles tutorial on the Nike Magista effect, doing the thread and kind of like distorting it, I've noticed that there's been a pretty big uptick in subscribers. I think I went up to like 500 or something like that, which still is not like a whole lot, but I'm really grateful that that one video alone could, bring in so many viewers. And it seems like a lot of you guys are looking for quality tutorials on X-Particles, so I'm glad I was able to offer that to you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and go into the tutorial and then into the time lapse. Let's put on your Mickey ears. Let's do this. All right, we're inside Cinema 4D. I got my Mickey ears on. Let's go ahead and make this Epcot ball. So first thing you want to do is create yourself a sphere. So right away, you'll notice that there's this ugly topology where it creates this nasty pole up here. So you want to change your type to icosahedron, in which creates all of these little triangles. And so right away, you should probably be able to figure out what I'm about to do. I'm going to go ahead and delete these nulls. All right, so the first thing you want to do is go ahead and create a Mo extrude. Cool, so you drop it into your sphere. And so we're kind of starting to get the effect. I'm going to change the extrusion steps from 4 down to 1. And here in your transform is where the magic happens. So here in your scale, just make sure instead of it being 0.98, just change it down to 0. And voila, you got yourself a nice little Epcot ball. And what's really great about this is that if you increase this, it automatically just creates that effect for you. The thing that you kind of have to watch out for is that as you make these subdivisions, these things tend to get steeper, and then as you lower it, they tend to kind of get wider. And that's because the Mo extrude is pushing at 5 centimeters. So after you kind of like decide however many subdivisions you want, so let's go back in here. Maybe let's do 64. That's probably kind of too many. Let's do 32. Yeah, sure. No, actually, I want to do something like 40. Okay. And so here, you can just go straight into your transform, and here you can kind of start scaling this down until you kind of get it to the point where you want it. I think 3 looks pretty good. All right, and so that's kind of like the basic function on creating this. Let me drop this back down to something a little simpler, maybe a little bit more than that, something like that. Actually, that's close to where I was. And right here. Cool, 30. So let's go ahead and bring in a bevel deformer. Let's not add it to the sphere just yet because this thing does tend to kind of go a little crazy. If I were to drop this in here, you can kind of see how many polygons it's creating even without the Mo extrude. And then if I were to activate the Mo extrude, and let's just go ahead and see what happens. You kind of get a lot of weird stuff. So if you have a lot of subdivisions, it might potentially crash your system. So let's go ahead and deactivate our bevel. And here in our offset, let's go ahead and put that to 0.01. And let's go ahead and activate it. And you see it's a very small effect. So let's go ahead and kind of bring this up just a tiny bit. Maybe 5. Maybe, let's see. Split the difference, do an 8. Okay. So now, if you take off the wireframe and you move your light around, it kind of gives it a little bit of a nicer reflectivity to it. And yeah, that's just because beveling looks good. And so, yeah, you can even add some subdivisions to try to smooth it out a little bit more, but it kind of gets a little crazy. So I think 0 is the safest bet. And yeah, this is kind of the basic effect. You can drop in a reflective material, what have you. Okay, anyways, that's the tutorial. Let's go ahead and hop into the time lapse. Thank you so much for checking this out. So I want to thank everyone again for subscribing to the channel. It's been really encouraging for me to see the support and see that you guys have enjoyed it so much. Till the next time, hopefully soon, I will check you guys out. All right, see ya.